Mambo Jumbo Familia Angu, habari gani? Uh, karibu to my home. I want to wish each and every one of you a very happy holiday season. I wanted to take an opportunity to make a video. I don't understand what it is, but there are a lot of people who you say I practice Judaism to. Actually, what I follow is something that I call Judeo-Sufism, Judeo-Islamism. Basically, I believe that the fundamental differences in between Judaism and Islam are basically not all that profound, so I choose to follow both. And that's a long, complicated story that I'll tell you another time, but I don't know why it is that a lot of people insist on wishing you a Merry Christmas, even though you tell them I'm a Jew, a Jew Muslim. I do not practice Christmas, but I wish you a Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. You know, what I would have loved is if some of you had wished me a Happy Hanukkah, but Hanukkah is over with now. You know, I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about something. I was watching, how would I call it? It's like a joint tape that Kung Fu Fanta, Mr. Nice, is doing with A.M. Carroll and African Reactor, and or is it Kenyan Reactor? The point is this: I love it. I believe in that. I believe in working together. I believe that channels should work together that way, particularly if they share a common set of values, you know. And Kung Fu Fanta was talking about begging and how a person shouldn't beg if they don't have a need, you know. And the thing that you learn about people in general is that people have a very generous nature, okay? And if they think that you need anything and they can help you, they're going to help you, you know. And right now, I don't know whether they're doing it based on my advice, but Joseph the Mason and Fellow the Boy, Joseph the Mason is a Mason. He, other Masons, along with handymen, go around building the properties that Fellow the Boy receives funding for through his subscribers, you know. And what I was telling Joseph the Mason, shout out to Joseph the Mason, is that why not, you know, on the theory that what A.M. Carroll, Mama Modesta, and Black Beauty all say, that charity begins at home. If charity truly begins at home, why not make sure that the very people who are building houses for the people that have had houses built for them, why not make sure that they're living in good homes? Okay, and to that end, I suggested to Joseph the Mason that all of the builders and all of the handymen form a housing cooperative, and the housing cooperative doesn't have to be limited to them. The housing collaborative or cooperative can be an organization in which, if anyone wants to invest what in America we call sweat equity, you can invest your sweat equity. What Mama Maria did when the house was being built for Mama Fred was she was over there. And I don't know whether she was getting paid or not, but she was actively involved in doing her share of seeing to it that her house was built. And my understanding is that Mama Felistis did the same thing when Mama Ann's house was being built. I believe in that. If people want to, better their living circumstances, rather than just sitting back and relying on charity to get their houses built, why don't they come together and form cooperatives? Cooperatives are a group of people that are working in cooperation with each other. And they can take turns building houses for each other. And they can take turns in donating a little, even if it's just a little bit. Donate what you can, raise the rest through the internet. And what happens if you do that is that you end up raising the standard of living of an entire village. Fellow the boy says that his dream is to build a city. This is a way of building a city. Okay? This is a way of one by one bettering the lives of people. One by one improving their living circumstances. And then there's something else. I noticed that with Mama Felistis, she ended up starting a small store. I know that Marwa laughably attempted to build such a store for Mama Ann, but there is a concept called micro lending. It was invented, and I'm sure somebody will correct me on this, but it was invented by Dr. Mohammed Yunus. It's called a Grameen Fund, and I'm not sure whether it was Bangladesh. I think it was in Bangladesh that he invented it. Dr. Yunus won a Nobel Prize for it. And what he came to realize was that people can be lifted out of poverty, and sometimes what it takes to lift them out of poverty is not a whole lot. It can be a very small loan to start a small business. And generally speaking, it's preferable to make these loans to women, but in reality, it's good to make it to anybody who wants to start a business. Lend them a small amount of money. Okay, there's something called the Grameen Fund, the Grameen Bank, that helps people to organize these micro-lending organizations. And these micro-lending organizations function like a tontine. Okay, and I'm sure that most of you know what a tontine is. It's an organization of people who come together, regularly contribute a certain amount of money, and each month, let's say, or each week, that money goes to a different member of the tontine. And the people that get involved have to act in good faith. Once you receive that money, you don't just take it and run. No, you come back the next week and you donate your share, and it goes to another person and another person. The point that I'm making is this. If I believe I understand what Fellow and even Mara was trying to do. Let's give credit where credit is due. The way you eliminate poverty in a society, okay, is not by just giving people things. Let me stop right here for a moment. My dear friends, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please help my channel to keep growing and subscribe to it. I'm feeling very, very excited and happy today. I'm happy because, I was a Christian for a very long time. And for me, even though I no longer practice Christianity, there's a joy that I feel at this time of the year. And there was a time when I didn't feel that joy, but I'm feeling it again, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm very happy to see what Fellow the boy is doing. I'm very happy to see that Mama Maria is about to move into her house. To me, that's a real victory. She isn't building some fancy show place through begging. She's building a good home for. They're building a good home for her, and her children are doing what they can. But the point that I was going back to the topic of this video, uh, if you want to lift people out of poverty, you start them in a small business. Start them in a small shop, whatever business they are capable of engaging in. Okay, and the Grameen Fund, Dr. Mohammed Yunus ended up winning a Nobel Prize for, I believe it was economics, based on the invention of the whole topic of microlending. You know, you need to have a microfinancier. They come in, they organize groups of in places, let's say like the village of Navohanse, and you organize it through some sort of an organization like a church or whatever group you have that you can work with. Those people go through a class that teaches them how to run a business. Once they learn how to run that business, they also have to learn how to do an application for a small amount of money to start a business. It does not take a lot of money to start a small business in a village. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, micro-lending programs around the world have completely begun to raise people out of poverty. I would like to see all of these. I would like to see a housing cooperative come to Nyabohanse and Magori County. I would love to see, I would love to see a micro lending program come to Nyabohanse County. I mean, to the village of Nyabohanse. Why would I get involved? What do I get out of this? It's so simple. I don't like to see people living in poverty. The party made me feel confused because on the one hand, we saw all of these people humiliating themselves and embarrassing themselves because they were going to get something for free. Oh, they were going to get a gift. And the Mazungus. That's embarrassing. The thing about begging and charity is that it takes away a human being's dignity. And it's like, there are things about my situation, the state of my body, that if I wanted to, I could go around asking people to help me and do this and that. Why? I have a means to provide. I have a home that I live in. I have food to eat. I have clothes on my back. I don't need anything from anybody. Allah, my God, is providing me with everything that I need. Okay, but there are a lot of people that are not in my position. And you want to know something? It's not enough to know that you have food in your closet and clothes to wear and a place to live. You have to worry about those that don't. And apparently, Fellow the Boy is interested in doing these things because the dynamics of Fellow the Boy's channel is this. I see that he's a good manager. I see that he brings all of these different people together and organizes things well. So what I was proposing to Joseph the Mason is that they ask Fellow to do it. Fellow has agreed to do it. And I don't know whether they're even going to mention the fact that I had anything to do with this. It's okay. I'm not looking for credit. What I'm looking for is to make the life better for these people. When I go to my grave, the day that I go to my grave, I want to know that I've helped people. And I've dedicated myself to working with people. When I practiced law, I represented a lot of people who didn't have any money. I also represented people who did have money. After I left the practice of law, for a while I taught children, and I went into the school system. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I did it because I wanted to help. I also worked with people who were in recovery from teenagers who were in recovery from being gang members and drug addiction, and I work with them. I used to work at a place called the Home Street Foundation. You know, I want to be somebody who has an impact on the world. I don't care if nobody ever knows my name. Most of my life, I haven't been somebody who anybody knows about. When I used to be a Seventh-day Adventist, I started a small food bank for anybody who was hungry and needed to be fed. We provided them with food. I started a small clothing bank, you know, and it did exactly the same thing. In Judaism, those things are called a gramach. Okay, if you get to a point in life in which you no longer wear certain clothes, if you hear of somebody who needs those clothes, who needs clothes, donate it to them. Or better yet, sell it to them for very, very little. Why? People value what they buy more than what's given to them. Okay? You have two models of how you can affect society. You have Marwa's model. Marwa's model is don't worry about helping anybody else. Worry about just helping yourself. Build a huge, big house for yourself. Let people donate their labor, and in exchange you shout them out or whatever. Or you have Fellow's model, and Fellow's model is find people that are in need and help them out, help them to build a home, help them to get groceries, help the orphanages. I think that model is what I go for. But I want to take it a step further. Don't only help people who are desperately poor. Okay, help people who have the skill, who have the health, who can contribute something to bettering their lives. In the United States, we have an organization called Habitat for Humanity. And that's one of the things that they do. You know, the thing is that it's not enough that you wake up one day in a beautiful compound with a nice security fence around it, and that's good for you, but wouldn't it be a lot better if you woke up in a village in which people are living in good houses? You know, I see that Diana Kemi is trying so hard to do everything on her own. How much would it hurt to go in there and help her to plaster the rest of the outside of her cabin? Okay, it's like you're only as strong as your weakest link. If my brothers and sisters are going hungry while I have something to eat, is it enough for me to sit back and say, forget them? I have something to eat. Get out of my compound. I'm fine. You go work. I remember I heard Mama Congrats say something one time that made me look at her and it's like, is this woman mad? She said something to the effect of, it's not good to give these people money. All that they want to do is eat. All that I don't see a lot of people in that village that are very fat. I see a lot of people that were running to get in line to get a free meal. The point is that let's help people to have a decent home. Let's help people to start more small businesses and prosper and not need to have their hand out. You know, let's break the cycle of dependency and constant begging. You know, the Marwas of the world, that's where they come from. The Seventh-day Adventist Church engages in a lot of charitable activities, and if you're a member of that church, you learn about them, and it's very easy to start thinking of yourself as a charity case when you own acres and acres and acres of land, and your family is land rich and has cattle and has everything that it needs. You know, it's like, I think that the world today has a choice. It can go the choice of the ultra wealthy, okay, or it can do what micro-lending does, and that is promote shoestring capitalism. Maybe a person who starts a small business in the market with a very small amount of money, they may not have a huge immense villa. They may have a nice, small, well-built home that protects them and their family from the rain. And that business, if it does nothing else, it may feed him and him, her, and their family. Okay, I call that micro-capitalism. A small business that can help you feed yourself and take care of yourself and not run around with your hand out begging. That's a brilliant way of making society better. Living in a home in which rainwater isn't falling on your head and the house isn't falling apart and your children are healthy, you're healthy, that's a good way of living. I believe that it can happen in Kenya. I think that it can happen around the world. Poverty can be eliminated, be it in Africa or anywhere else around the world. And it's good when the holidays come and people are generous and help each other and everything. But what if we created a world in which everybody is working and everybody has an opportunity to make a little money and nobody has to be begging? Okay, because there are a lot of people that are not Maura. Maura begs when he doesn't have to. There are a lot of people that beg because they have no choice. Anyway, I'm saying that in line with some of the things that I heard Mr. Nice and A.M. Carroll, is saying earlier. We can change society. We can change the world. And Fellow the Boy, I love Fellow the Boy. He's doing it one family at a time. He's trying to help them. Zach Discoveries, Otenga Jr., Joint Hand, Green Leaves. Or is it Green Leaves, Joint Hand? Okay, but Joseph the Mason, all of them are working toward making life better for everybody, one person at a time. I think that we can do that as far as helping them make a living, helping them find a way of supporting themselves without having to beg. My dear brothers and sisters, if you haven't liked and subscribed to my channel, I'm going to ask you to take one finger, and shove it into that subscribe button, shove it into that like button. Help my little channel to grow, and this is the holiday season. I just, I wanted to talk about this. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. Africa does not have to live in poverty. People in Nyabohanse do not have to live in poverty. They do not have to beg. Let's make it better for everybody. Let's make sure that in the end, we work at helping one family at a time, get a good home. And I'm physically, there are a lot of things I cannot do. But if I can contribute, even if all that I contribute is a few dollars, God judges me by my intentions, not necessarily by how much I give. In the meantime, I wish each and everybody a happy holiday. Asante Asana for having watched my video, and may God bless each and every one of you. Please stay safe. Have a happy holiday season. Kwaheri.